Oh, look at that. So, got her all together. What's going on, guys? So, more bodywork. So we got the car kind of the color I want it. We're slowly but surely tackling getting the bodywork ready for paint, which is all good. Now, the one thing I have been ignoring has been this hood, and ultimately you guys, every video I get someone commenting, or multiple people, I should cover the carburetor, cover the carburetor. You're probably right. We're going to cover the carburetor today. Now this hood I've had for years. This is actually the original hood off of my 55 Chevy, but I took it off when I put a flip front end on. And I kept it because it was quite nice. It has the bird on it, which these are even used for like 100 or 150 bucks. We got a little emblem on there. It was primered and then sat, so it has a little bit of surface rust. I'm hoping I'll just be able to sand it down to bare metal. It looks in really nice shape. Hopefully I don't flip this over too bad. This one corner is bent up just a little bit, so I'll kind of bend it down. Underneath I've already cleaned it up and painted it in a previous video. The one thing I am missing though, there's two nuts on either side. Obviously that bolt down the hood is either missing one or one stripped, I'm not really too sure. So we got to weld, I'm just going to weld a nut in there and it'll be good. So step one, we're going to strip the bird off, we'll strip the emblem off. We'll start sanding on it. Hopefully it'll come out real nice. And then we'll do a little bit of welding on it underneath. Once that's all done, if it needs any of the rust converting spray, I'll do that. I think it'll be okay. I really just think it's kind of surface rust. It'll come out with the sander. Then we'll paint it. We'll got some little liquid body filler. I love that stuff, I'm telling you. High build primer is the way to go. I got a little bit left in the can, so we'll use the rest of it, put another two or three coats on this. And then once that dries, I'll be later tonight or tomorrow even, convince Danny to come over, or maybe the neighbor, he wants to borrow the Bobcat, and have someone help me put the hood on. This is another Murray, you're not here and I blame you for everything moment. And we'll go from there. Now these Tri-5 hoods, I guess you could do it all off the car, like body work and all that. For me, put it on. The peak down the center is in really nice shape. That's the big issue. The corner, I want to kind of bend into place so it fits the car itself. Otherwise, these curves, like it's rusting, so it's right on the metal. And the center, you got to be real careful when you're sanding. They're so flimsy. So if you do have body filler on there, you'll end up kind of coming waves in it anyways. So we'll put it on the car, we'll get it all bolted down, then we can block it from there in a future video. But yeah, it'd be cool to kind of see this all together. Then we're going to work some headlight buckets and then start on the other side of sanding. Man, I live an exciting life. So the hood came out pretty good. It's got like a little bit of surface rust still. I'm going to run out. I got to get some more of that rust cover. I thought I had some, but I don't. Anyway, just right at the back, here's a few little holes. Right in the curve, which I assume is probably from being stored in the mud, which might be possibly my fault. Now we're going to go ahead and just straighten this a little bit. Like it's got a kink there. No matter what we do, it's going to have that. So we can get her. Oh, that one moved pretty good. You need just a little bit of hammer in here. Get her straightened out. Okay, so I think we're straightened out a little bit. I don't know if it shows up when I whacked it. It's got some little pinholes there. So I'm gonna grind it down, weld it, regrind it, and then we'll flip it over and do the studs. Okay, so the way this works, there's supposed to be a little tab that fits in this little square. And it's just a standard 5/16 coarse thread. So that one works fine. It's got the other one, so it's just missing one. They just broke or popped out at some point. So gonna have to trim the bolt down just 2 peaks so it'll fit in. We'll kind of eyeball it to the same height, get this ground down, and start welding that. So I'll get this all kind of set up real quick. Then we'll get to see the carnage up close. So this is what we're working with. We got our square kind of ground down, and I've taken a nut and I've just ground two points so it's a little finer so it would fit in. It fits in real nice there. Now the typical little nut is kind of clamped in, or I don't know what it is in there, but it's missing. It sticks just above this little stamping. So we're going to do about the same. Now we want to get it kind of as close as we can. It will affect the fitment and all that of the hood. I mean, there's lots of adjustment, but might as well. So kind of eyeball it. Give it a little. That one didn't sound great, but we'll hold it. So now it's where we want. A little more heat in the welder, I think, is our issue. So now we'll give it another zap at the back. All right, that ain't going nowhere. And a little tech tip is leave the bolt in there. That way you don't get any junk in the threads. So you can, it gets kind of junked up on the threads of the bolt is fine, but the threads inside the nut, you don't want to screw around with that. I mean, you can always run a tap through it and everything, but now it's all good. So we're gonna let this cool off. That's hot. I'm gonna run out and get some of that spray, give her a quick coat, and I'll bring it back. Oh, calm it down. I'll give it a quick coat, and I'll bring it back when it's ready to be scuffed up, which will be a few hours. Okay, a little ways later, I've given her a shot of this stuff, and it's a few hours later, so I painted it on there and I scuffed it up, so it's ready to go. It kind of brought a lot of the rust out, actually. All this stuff wasn't there. And you spray on this rust converter and it brings it up. So we'll get set up over here. I got the paint gun out ready to go. So this is a big tip. It's like a 2.3 mil or something, so it'll feed a lot of paint through it. And then this is the, what I have left of the high build, and she's thick. So we're gonna do 4-to-1 with a little bit of reducer. So we'll get the camera set up and I'll mix it all on camera here. I'll give you guys the full tour. All right, so we got a clean-ish cup. Got some activator for safe use. Must be good. So I mixed this stuff up. Man, this high build, it separates like you wouldn't believe. So this is a 4-to-1 mix. So 4 parts paint to 1 part activator. So we got that going in there. Well, device is going. So we got there. Might have given her a little much, but this will be fine. Do that, and I like to give another little squirt of the reducer. It lays down a little nicer. A little 10 or 15% dollop. Mix her up real good. So I'll load this up in the gun real quick, and we'll start hopefully laying it down. Should go pretty quick. Okay, we got the thing all dialed together. I got it set up pretty good. Decent little fan. We got a full gun and maybe enough for half or so. So I'm hoping I can get 3 coats out of it just in the one mix. If I got to mix a little more, I will. The goal is going to be kind of rip her down and try and keep a wet edge on it. Yeah, it is what it is. Well, we already got a problem. This gun is not feeding for some reason. That's awesome. All right, back to the bench. We're off to a rough start. I don't know, I cleaned it out, just ran some reducer through it, and it seems fine now. So there must have been some junk in there, but I do clean the gun every time I put it away. Did it again. What the heck? Just not letting any paint through. You know what I think it was? I think the vent was clogged on the gun. At least I'm going to go with that till it screws up again. Not too bad. Doesn't even look like there's too many dents when you're when it goes on kind of wet and you can see. I think it's a win. Put a little more in the gun, keep giving her. Okay, so we let it dry for maybe got 10 minutes into it or something like that. So it doesn't have the same shine to it. And this mask is brutal talking. But it should be good for another go here. So the idea is just like you're kind of, cutting grass or whatever, overlap a little bit, keep the wet edge. I'm just saying words I've heard on the internet. This stuff goes on so thick, it's unbelievable. It's like spackling. But it's nice, once it goes on, it hardens up. It's just like body filler, and then it just sands so nice, and it gets so smooth. All right, I think we got enough for the third coat, so we'll let it set up. One more on this sucker. All right, we're set up at like the ultimate judgment angle. You guys get to see how terrible I really am. So, third coat, we got the furnace on, and once we just clean the gun up, and let her sit for a bit. Look at that. Get the front done real quick here. This stuff, you can put it on so thick and it doesn't run. But it's also not nice glass finish, but all right, good enough. I'll create heat, open the door, we'll vent the toxic gases out. We'll clean the gun, we'll see if we can put her back on a little later on tonight. Okay, so we're all done. Let's take whatever's left of the gun. Dump her out. Or a reducer in there. Give her a little shake up. Just kind of get most of the junk out. See, this is where this little vent, it got some paint in there, and then I guess it just kind of, feel like it vapor locked. Spray it out, so that's just gonna get all the crap out. We should be good. So just after that little bit, we're already basically clean there. Now we'll take some paper towel, maybe some clean stuff. Wipe it all out, run a little bit more reducer through it. Take the tip off, wipe it all down, and put it back on the shelf until next time. So, the primer's gonna sit up there, the body filler I should call it. It'll probably take a few hours. I don't know if this thing has drying times. Flash, 15 minutes, sanding, 1.5 to 2 hours. So, it's, what time is it right now? 7:30. So yeah, 9 o'clock, we should be able to be out here. And I mean, if you can sand it in 1.5 hours, I'm sure you can put it on the car. At least that's what we're gonna do. So let's set up, see you in 1.5 hours. Ooh-wee, look at that. So it turned out really nice. This hood is in really, really nice shape. Just a few little dings in the back here, which we'll get that squared away. It might need a little bit of hammering, but we'll see. It's a little softer, you can put your fingernail in it, but good enough to have Danny come out and help me get this thing on. So we got the bolts ready to go, got my wrench ready, the hinge is already on. So we'll be able to put this thing together, drop it on, make it look like a real car. And I'll give it a day before we start standing on it, or maybe in a couple days, we'll see. But yeah, the nice part is the peak is in really nice shape. And otherwise, this curve is nice. I think it'll be a nice little showpiece we got here. Look at that. So like I said, these fenders and this hood I've been storing now for, 4 or 5 years. They're getting a new home. Okay, so it's the next day, and I brought a few things out. I have a schwack load of these, and probably 4 or 5 years ago, whenever I got my 55, maybe it was only 3 years ago, there's a guy at swap meet had a pile of 55 stuff that had been taken off, like obviously bezels and tail lights and crap like that. He had a whole box of it. And he wanted like a bunch of money, 20 bucks for this, 30 bucks for that, 40 bucks for that. I was like, nah, I don't want any of that. And then end of the day, stopped by again, and I just got like everything for like 40 bucks. And one of the things I got was this grill, which is actually not bad shape. It's missing all the little tabs, so we'll just use bolts for the time being. And you had it marked for 80 bucks. So I don't think I paid much for it. So I'm pretty sure I got everything for $20 or $40. So the way this goes in, there's supposed to be like speed clips on there and there, and it actually attaches through the fender. It goes through the inner fender, through the fender, and into the grill, and holds it all together. So we're gonna do the same thing just with nut and bolts. Same with down here, this is just kind of loose. So we're gonna nut and bolt everything together, see what it does to pull everything into alignment. Same thing like that, it's supposed to bolt to that. So there's lots of that stuff going on. Then we gotta decide how this hood is gonna fit. Now, the cool thing about Tri-5 Chevys, the hood hinge actually bolts to the firewall. So you can take the fenders right off and the hood will still be on it. Now we have to align the fender a little bit, so it's gotta come ahead just a hair. Then the hood, I don't know what we're gonna do there. You'll have to slide either more on this if there's room, or space the whole hinge ahead, which is, I mean, whatever. And make that all fit, and then decide, there's 2 bolts that hold the core support down on the frame, so make sure that's somewhat centered. And then if we're still having issues, we'll resort to bending that until it kind of pulls itself in. But I'm thinking, I mean, it's just a bunch of different parts. Fenders off one car, hood off another, frame off another, inner fenders off who knows what, core support off something. It's all 55 Chevy stuff. It should all fit pretty good. So that's the plan. Because as you can see, this fender is, I mean, it's down. It's actually not a bad gap forward-wise. So this one maybe we don't got to do too much with. We can just raise it up with some shims under there. Yeah, if that one is ahead, that should make sense because that one fits good, but it's sticking too far forward. So this fender is actually in alignment this way, but not that a ways. Anyway, I'm gonna get a bunch of nuts and bolts and get it all kind of bolted together, and we'll start cranking and prying on it. Because I think it should be in place and gapped before I start cranking on it too bad. That way I can fix all my blunders with body filler versus trying to do this once it's painted. Well, this is a lot of screwing around. So much screwing around that the battery died and I didn't even notice it. But we got the grill in. Fit's not bad. We got the hood moved around a little. This side actually turned out pretty good. We got like the little whoop-de-doo there, but that's what we have to kind of hammer down. A little bit of shmoo of filler in there will be fine. Yeah, pretty good. You know, it's got a bit of a fat gap, but the fender is rocked right up against the body. It's kind of all we're going to do. It is an even gap front to back. The hood, I guess, could move over this way a little bit, which we might do yet. There's also no hood latch in it. The problem we're running into, like the fender or the hood, is this way as much as it'll go. So we got to push it over just a little, which is fine. But we got a tight gap here, and it widens out down here. And there's no amount of adjustment I can now put in this thing. I mean, the grill is trying to tie it together. The problem is this crossbar, I actually unbolted it and I kind of pushed it back, and as you push it back, because it's at an angle, it does let the fenders in. Now this is a 56 grill or core support. I kind of thought they're all the same, 5, 6, 7, maybe not. So this is where a little bit of, a cool heads prevail, but we're not cool headed. This side fits fine. I'm gonna zip this off right there and then come over and just weld it back on. And then it'll be fit exactly how I want, and when it's wrong later, I'll just shim it, because they're actually supposed to be shims. Well, I've had cars with shims there to widen the fenders out. So that is what we're gonna do. We can move the hood over real quick maybe, just get this side fitting as good as we can, and then zip it, weld it, cover the carburetor, because everyone's panicked, and then the hood will fit pretty good. Grill in, I gotta make a list because I don't have some parts I still need to get. I still need headlight buckets and headlight buckets. Let's get shopping. All right, you ready to see me customize this thing? Customize. Now there's some tension on this, so I'm hoping it doesn't grab the blade and bung it up. She's taut. There we go. Immediately better. Immediately better. So I don't feel bad about this cut now. Fender's got to go back just a bit, or the hood has to go ahead. Actually, the hood, that's not bad. The fender's got to go ahead a little bit, but yeah, there we go. I'll clean this up, and honestly, I think we'll probably just bolt it where it wants to be and put a few tack welds on it for now. I don't know if I'll finish weld it, but yeah, it's pretty good. Look at that. So, got her all together. I'll weld it up. As my good buddy old Whalen Wire says, why use a bolt when you have a welder? So we got her dialed. Bolted in. I'm happy with it. Just needs a little bit of love on the hinges. They're a little, I believe, stiff from probably sitting forever. So they need a little lubrication, but fits pretty good. The hood is down in the front. Obviously, there's no latch mechanism in it. So, you have a bit of a gap, but the second you kind of put it where it's going to be, sure lines right up. I put the bird on just for myself. A little motivational tip. But that's where I'm leaving it. I still got a little bit to do. I got to weld up on the inside of the fenders. I actually got to make a piece, so I think that'll be in the next video. We'll make those, weld those in, start schmucking maybe the fender. I don't know what we're going to work on. But headlights for sure. But I'm done right now for the video. Thanks for watching. I got to make a list of stuff I need, put a little want ad out, and if I can't find it used, I'm going to have to pay up for it. And paying up and paying for shipping and all that stuff right now is a pain, but we're getting there. I'm so happy. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Leave a comment below, and I'll see you on the next video. Couple of days.